The Zarak Dominion had conquered countless worlds. No species had ever stopped them. No planet had ever resisted them for long. And now their eyes were set on Earth. Admiral Vorkin stood on the bridge of the Dominator, the largest warship in the fleet. His golden eyes gleamed with arrogance as he watched the blue-green planet on the view screen. "This will be too easy," he muttered. The reports were clear. Earth had no planetary defenses, no orbital cannons, no battle stations, no shield networks, just a few satellites and primitive space stations. A weak planet, a defenseless target. The invasion fleet, hundreds of warships, thousands of soldiers, moved into formation. Victory was inevitable. The first mistake. Commander Xalvek, Vorkin's second-in-command, studied the data screen. His ridged brow furrowed. "Sir, I don't understand something," he said. Vorkin barely glanced at him. "What?" The Xalvek hesitated. "We scanned the planet's history. These humans, they have fought wars for thousands of years. They built nuclear weapons centuries ago. Their technology advanced rapidly. Yet they never built planetary defenses. No orbital weapons, no space fleets." Vorkin smirked. "Because they are fools. They waste time fighting each other instead of preparing for real war." Xalvek frowned. Something felt wrong. A species this aggressive should have had some protection. Yet Earth was wide open. The warning. A sudden beep interrupted the conversation. "Admiral," a communications officer called out. "We are receiving a transmission. From Earth." Vorkin's eyes narrowed. "Put it through." The view screen flickered. A human appeared, an older man with gray hair, wearing a simple uniform. He had no weapons, no soldiers behind him. Just calm, unshaken eyes. "This is General David Carter of Earth," the human said. His voice was steady. "You are making a mistake." Vorkin chuckled. "A mistake? We are offering you surrender." The human tilted his head. "Surrender? No, Admiral. We are warning you." Silence filled the bridge. Some officers exchanged uneasy glances. Vorkin sneered. "Warning us? Of what?" The human leaned forward slightly. "You assume we are defenseless. That is your first mistake. Your second, coming here." The transmission cut. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, the bridge exploded in laughter. "They're trying to bluff us," an officer scoffed. Vorkin smirked. "Typical primitives." He turned to the fleet. "Begin the invasion." The trap is set. The Zarak fleet moved closer to Earth. Landing ships prepared to descend. Troop carriers activated their weapons. And then, something changed. Xalvek's console flashed red. "Admiral," he shouted. "Massive energy spikes detected. Something is happening." Vorkin spun toward the screen. "What?" A wave of interference swept through the fleet. Systems flickered. Communications went silent. Then, the first ship exploded. Not from an external attack. From within. Then another. And another. Across the fleet, ships detonated, one by one, bursting into fireballs. Alarms blared. Officers shouted in confusion. Xalvek's voice was sharp with terror. "Sir, the humans, they didn't build defenses." Vorkin turned to him, his eyes wide. "They turned our own ships into weapons." Earth had never needed planetary defenses, because Earth had already hacked the fleet. Chaos consumed the Zarak fleet. Flames erupted from warships. Explosions tore through once mighty vessels. Crews screamed over dead comms as ships self-destructed from the inside. Admiral Vorkin stood frozen on the bridge of the Dominator, his golden eyes wide with disbelief. This is impossible," he snarled. He turned to Commander Xalvek. "Report. What is happening to my fleet?" Xalvek's claws gripped his console. His voice trembled. "Sir, our systems are compromised. Our ship's air." The lights flickered. A chilling silence filled the bridge. Then a voice spoke over their own comms. A human voice. The whisper from Earth. "This is General Carter," the voice said. The bridge crew stiffened. The enemy was inside their own systems. "You expected a battle in space," Carter continued. His tone was eerily calm. "You expected warships, shields, and weapons, but you never considered the real battlefield." Vorkin's fists clenched. "Cut the transmission." An officer frantically worked the controls. "Sir, I can't. They have full control." Carter's voice continued. "We've been inside your systems for weeks. Your ships, your weapons, your navigation, all belong to us now." Vorkin's claws scraped against metal. "Lies. You expect me to believe you did all this without us noticing?" "Of course," Carter said. "You never thought we were a threat. That was your mistake." The transmission cut. The Empire's mistake. Zalvek's voice was urgent. "Admiral, we need to retreat before we lose more ships." "No," Vorkin growled. "We are the Zirak Dominion. We do not run from primitives." Another explosion rocked the fleet. Another ship lost. "Sir," an officer stammered, "our weapons are locking onto each other. We're firing on ourselves." Vorkin turned back to the view screen. Earth hung in the darkness. Untouched. Unafraid. They had never needed defenses, because they had already won. The Ghost Fleet rises. Then, something else happened. New signals appeared on the sensors. Warships, dozens of them, emerging from the dark void. At first, Vorkin thought it was a counterattack. But as the ships drew closer, his blood ran cold. They weren't human ships. They were his own. The Zirak ships that had gone dark, the ones they thought were destroyed, were now turning toward them. Weapons armed, shields active, but they were no longer under his command. Earth hadn't just taken control of their fleet. They had turned it against them. Vorkin finally understood. Earth wasn't fighting back. Earth was hunting them. Panic spread through the Zirak ranks. On every warship, officers shouted, desperately trying to regain control. But their systems remained locked, their commands ignored. The stolen ships, the ones they thought lost, were now their worst nightmare. They moved with eerie precision, like predators circling their prey. Admiral Vorkin's claws dug into his chair. His powerful fleet, the pride of the Zirak Dominion, was turning against him. He snarled, "Fire on those ships. Destroy them now." The weapons officer's face turned pale. "Sir, our weapons won't respond." The bridge fell silent. Then the first stolen ship fired. The hunters become the hunted. Bright energy beams sliced through Zirak ships. The stolen warships knew their weaknesses, targeting critical points with terrifying accuracy. One by one, Zirak ships exploded, their own firepower used against them. Commander Zalvek's voice shook. "Sir, they've studied us. They know everything about our ships. They know how to cripple us." Vorkin's golden eyes burned with fury. "They are primitive. How can they?" A violent explosion cut him off. A massive battleship, once under his command, was now shredding his fleet apart. The Zirak were not fighting humans. They were fighting themselves. The final transmission. Then the human's voice returned. "This is General Carter." The bridge crew froze. "You thought Earth was defenseless," Carter continued. "That was your second mistake. Your first, underestimating us." Vorkin's breathing was heavy. "What do you want?" he growled. There was a pause. Then Carter spoke, his voice ice cold. "We want you to run. Silence. Take what's left of your fleet and crawl back to your empire. And tell them, Earth is not defenseless." Another explosion rocked the ship. More Zirak vessels were being annihilated. The humans weren't just winning. They were erasing the invasion force. Zalvek turned to Vorkin, his voice desperate. "Sir, we have to retreat." Vorkin clenched his jaw, his pride warring with reality. Then, finally, he made the only choice left. Order the retreat. The galaxy will remember. The Zirac warships turned and fled, their formation broken, their forces shattered. Behind them, Earth remained untouched, not a single city harmed. As the broken fleet limped away, one thought haunted them. Earth had never needed planetary defenses, because Earth itself was the weapon. The remnants of the Zirac fleet fled through the void, their warships damaged, their pride shattered. Admiral Vorkin sat motionless on the bridge of the Dominator, his claws digging into the armrests. His once invincible fleet had been hunted, turned against itself, and humiliated. Not by a superior force, not by overwhelming numbers, but by humans. Commander Xalvek stood beside him, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Sir, the Council will demand answers." Vorkin's golden eyes burned with rage. "Let them demand all they want. Earth did not defeat us with weapons. They used our ships, our technology, against us. That is not war." Xalvek hesitated. "Then what is it?" Vorkin exhaled sharply. "It is terror." The Galactic Council's shock. The Zirac fleet limped back to the Imperial core, their homeworld shrouded in towering spires and golden light. The moment Vorkin stepped into the Grand Hall of the Zirac Council, he felt their fury. Hundreds of alien warlords, high-ranking officials, and advisors glared at him. Their whispers filled the chamber. The mighty fleet, broken. They were defeated by nothing. The humans did not even fire a single missile. At the head of the hall, Supreme Chancellor Corvas, the ruler of the Zirac Dominion, narrowed his reptilian eyes. He leaned forward. "Admiral, explain." Vorkin took a deep breath. "We were wrong about Earth." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. "They do not have planetary defenses. They do not need them. They fight in ways we do not understand. They took control of our ships, disabled our weapons, and forced us to retreat without firing a shot." The room fell silent. Then Corvas spoke. His voice was quiet. Too quiet. "You mean to tell me, Admiral, that our most powerful war fleet, the pride of our empire, was not defeated in battle, but in the shadows?" Vorkin's jaw tightened. "Yes." Corvas slowly stood, his piercing gaze swept across the council. For the first time in Zirac history, an enemy had not only repelled an invasion, they had done so without breaking a sweat. A warning to the galaxy. Corvas turned to his advisors. "Send word to the other empires. Let them know what we have learned." A nervous silence filled the chamber. One warlord scoffed. "You would have us spread fear of these humans." Corvas' eyes narrowed. "Would you rather the other empires make the same mistake we did? Would you rather they laugh at Earth, only to suffer the same humiliation?" The warlord hesitated. Then he bowed his head. The Supreme Chancellor nodded. "Then it is decided." Earth's final message. As the Zirac Council sent out warnings across the stars, a final transmission arrived from Earth. A simple message. No threats. No arrogance. Just a reminder. "We saw you coming before you even knew we existed." The message ended. A chill ran through the Zirac Council. No one spoke. Because for the first time in history, the most powerful empire in the galaxy was afraid. The Supreme Chancellor's message spread like wildfire. Every major empire, from the war-hardened Corthan Dominion to the secretive Velari Commonwealth, received the same chilling report. Do not underestimate Earth. At first, many scoffed. How could a single primitive world force the Zirac Dominion into retreat? But then, the unthinkable happened. One by one, hidden reports surfaced. Other fleets had vanished near Earth. Small reconnaissance missions had never returned. There were whispers of ships disappearing without a trace, their distress calls cut short. The galaxy was starting to understand the truth. Earth's lack of defenses wasn't a weakness. It was a warning. The Velari investigation. In a darkened chamber on Velaris Prime, the ruling council of the Velari Commonwealth convened. They were not conquerors like the Zirac. They were information brokers, spy masters who thrived on knowing what others did not. For years, they had dismissed Earth as a primitive world, unworthy of attention. Now, they wanted answers. Grand Inquisitor Relvin stood before the council. We have monitored the humans closely. They are different. How so? One counselor asked. Relvin's silver eyes gleamed. They do not fight wars like us. They fight before the war begins. The counselors exchanged uneasy glances. Relvin continued. They let their enemies believe they are weak. They let their enemies attack first. And then, they dismantle them from the inside. Silence filled the chamber. Finally, one counselor spoke. Are you saying Earth is the most dangerous species in the galaxy? Relvin hesitated. Then he shook his head. No, I am saying we have no idea how dangerous they truly are. The Zirek's next move. Back in the Zirek Dominion, Admiral Vorkin stood before Supreme Chancellor Corvus once more. What are our orders? Vorkin asked, his voice tense. The Supreme Chancellor was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. We will not attack Earth again. Vorkin blinked. You wish to surrender? Corvus narrowed his eyes. No, we will watch, we will wait, and we will learn. Vorkin exhaled, his shoulders relaxing slightly. For now, Earth was safe. But one thought still haunted him. If Earth had been strong enough to repel the Zirek, what else were they capable of? A hidden power. Back on Earth, deep within a hidden military complex, General Carter watched the intercepted messages from the Zirek Dominion. The alien empire was shaken, afraid. Good. Carter turned to his team. They won't be back anytime soon. One officer smirked. And if they do? Carter smiled. Then we'll remind them why Earth never needed defenses in the first place. Across the galaxy, whispers of Earth's hidden power spread like wildfire. The Zirek Dominion had retreated. The Velari Commonwealth was watching closely. Other empires hesitated, torn between fear and curiosity. But some were not content to simply wait. Some wanted proof. The Korthan infiltration. The Korthan Dominion was a warrior race bred for battle. They respected strength above all else. Unlike the Zirek, they did not fear Earth's mystery. They sought to challenge it. A single Korthan infiltration team was dispatched to Earth. Their mission was simple. Find out how humans had repelled the Zirek without a fight. The team landed in secret, hidden beneath the cover of Earth's vast oceans. Using advanced cloaking technology, they slipped into human cities, observing from the shadows. At first, they saw nothing unusual. Humans worked. They laughed. They lived their lives in peace. But then, something strange happened. The Korthans, masters of stealth, began disappearing. One by one, their operatives went missing, without a trace, without a struggle, until only one remained, captured by ghosts. The last Korthan infiltrator, Commander Jorvac, activated every survival protocol he knew. Yet no matter where he ran, no matter how he hid, the humans were already there. They did not chase him. They did not attack. They simply waited. Until, at last, exhaustion overtook him. Jorvac woke up in a dimly lit room, restrained but unarmed. A human sat across from him, dressed in a simple uniform. No weapons, no armor. Yet Jorvac had never felt so powerless. The human smiled. Welcome to Earth. The silent threat. Jorvac expected torture, interrogation. Instead, the human simply asked one question. Did you really think we wouldn't notice you? Jorvac said nothing. The human leaned forward, eyes cold. The Zirek thought Earth was defenseless. You thought we were blind. Tell me, Commander, how many times do you think we've let spies like you come here? Jorvac's blood ran cold. The human continued. The truth is, we've been watching all of you, every empire, every move. We knew the Zirek were coming before they even left their homeworld. And we let them. Jorvac's breath caught. The human smiled again, but this time, It wasn't friendly. Earth isn't weak. Earth isn't reckless. Earth is patient. And now, your people are about to learn the cost of underestimating us. The Corthan's warning. Jorvac was returned to his ship the next day. No torture, no visible scars. But something inside him had changed. As soon as he returned to Corthan space, he delivered his report to the Dominion's High Warlord. They did not defeat the Zirac by accident, Jorvac whispered. They let them come. The High Warlord frowned. For what purpose? Jorvac met his gaze. To send a message. The High Warlord's expression darkened. Earth was not just another world. It was a trap. And every empire that approached it was walking straight into its hands. The Corthan Dominion, the Villari Commonwealth, and even the broken Zirac Empire had all come to the same chilling conclusion. Earth was not weak. It was watching. It was waiting. But now, the question remained, what would humanity do next? A meeting of giants. In a secret, high-level galactic summit, the leaders of the most powerful empires gathered. The Zirac Supreme Chancellor sat in silence, his once mighty fleet reduced to ruins. The Villari spymasters, usually so smug, looked uneasy. Even the Corthan High Warlord, a warrior who had never feared battle, was grim. A simple message had been sent from Earth to every major power. We are aware of you. Do not test us. No threats, no demands, just a warning. The High Warlord broke the silence. What if they are bluffing? The Supreme Chancellor of the Zirac shook his head. His voice was hoarse, full of bitter regret. They are not. The Ghost Fleet. Meanwhile, in deep space, something terrifying was happening. Villari scouts had detected movement near the edges of the galactic core. Strange signals, ghostly transmissions, too organized to be random, too faint to track. And then, a Villari stealth ship managed to catch a glimpse of something impossible. A fleet. Not Zirac, not Corthan, not Villari. Human. Hundreds of warships, hidden in the depths of space, completely undetected until now. And then, before the Villari scout could transmit anything more, the signal vanished. The final message. Back on Earth, General Carter sat in a darkened room, watching the galaxy react. They were afraid. Good. A junior officer entered the room. Sir, the Villari tried to track our fleet. Carter smirked. Let them try. The officer hesitated. What now? Carter leaned back, his voice calm. Nothing. The officer frowned. Sir. Carter's eyes gleamed. The moment they attacked us, they lost. He stood and turned toward a massive screen, displaying the positions of every major galactic power. They wanted to see what Earth was hiding, he said. Now they know. He glanced at the officer and smiled. Let them decide what happens next. The galaxy would never make the mistake of underestimating Earth again. The end.